and welcome to Oh Hello Maker. Whether this is your first tutorial or you've been crafting along with me for a while now, I know you're going to absolutely love today's project, my bird of peace bag. Now you're going to be using something called HTV to do your bird design. HTV stands for Heat Transfer Vinyl. It's really easy to use. You simply trace on your design on the back, cut it out, have the shiny side upwards, and then you press it on with an iron or a heat press. I'll show you how to cut and fuse your designs onto your zip-up bag, and we'll be adding a tassel to the zip as well. Your kit contains way more vinyl than you actually need for your zip-up case, which means you can go on to create your own designs onto everything from bags, cushion covers and clothing to decorative pieces such as personalised bunting. Now you're going to be using an iron or a heat press for this project, so please be mindful if you've got little people running about. I really hope you enjoy creating my bird of peace bag. As always, I'd absolutely love to see your masterpiece creations. So please do email me any snaps, or if you post anything on social, and don't forget to tag me at ohhellomaker and use the hashtag ohhellomakerbox. So the first thing you need to do is use the templates on page 8 of your instruction manual and trace off a bird design onto the back of the blue vinyl with some pencil. Just pull it back to see if it's there, and then carefully cut out the bird. Then trace off and cut out the little branch from dark pink vinyl. This one can be a little bit fiddly. Now trace off and cut out the wing detail and the tail from pale pink vinyl. You can then start placing these on top of the bird. Then you can position the tail under the bird and just bring down the little branch. Next up, you want to trace off 3 circles from the dark pink. This can be super fiddly, so a pair of tweezers can come in really handy here. And then position on the bird. And now you want to draw 3 circles on the back of the yellow vinyl and do exactly the same, using your tweezers just to hold the circle when you cut round, and then pop them onto the bird's wing. Then cut out a little yellow heart and place it on the bird's chest. You want to cut a very fine strip from the mint coloured vinyl and cut 2 small lengths just to go on the tail. They're going to be approximately 2 centimetres long, but don't worry if they're slightly longer. Then you want to cut a few shorter pieces around 3 to 5 millimetres. And this is going to be for some detail on the bird's chest. Okay, so now it's time to press our design onto our zip-up bag. If you're using an iron, you want to set it to the cotton setting, that's the 2 dots or the 2 stars. And if you're using a Cricut Easy Press or something similar, it needs to be 150 degrees Celsius and set it to 10 seconds. You also want to work on a table, something with a hard surface, so don't work on your ironing board. And you can put a towel down to protect the surface. And the first piece that we want to do is the pink tail, but to get to the correct position, you'll need to place your bird on the bag first and then tuck the pink tail underneath. Then remove the blue bird so you're just left with the pink tail. Place on a piece of baking paper, very important. Then press down your iron or easy press for 10 seconds. Peel back the baking paper and make sure that the tail has fused in place. If it hasn't, just pop the baking paper back on top and pop the iron on for a few more seconds. Now the bag's going to be really hot at this point, so just leave it for a few seconds just to cool down. Then try peeling off the shiny carrier side. If the vinyl lifts away with it, simply place the baking paper back on and heat for a few more seconds with the iron. Then slowly peel off the backing completely. Next, you want to position on the bird. So overlap the pink tail, place on the baking paper and use the iron or easy press to heat like before. As you can see here, my vinyl didn't actually adhere just on the wing, so I simply put the baking paper back on top and heated for a few more seconds, really pushing down on that. And then carefully peel away the backing. So next you want to position all of the wing details, the dots, the heart, and the little lines for the tail onto the bird. And then carefully cover with baking paper. But you want to make sure that you don't knock any of the details before you put the iron on and fuse them in place. So your tweezers again will come in really handy when positioning things. And these little specks here, these details for the chest, they can be super fiddly, so I am using my tweezers here to position them. Okay, super careful, I've just placed that on really lightly and then making sure not to move my easy press or iron, press down nice and firmly. Peel back the baking paper. I think I saw one lift up, so I've pressed it down again. Now before I lift away the backing, I'm going to now position the little branch either side of the bird's beak. You'll just need to chop the individual pieces at the correct angle so it looks like it's being held by the bird's beak. Then again, carefully position your baking paper and heat for 10 seconds. Again, mine didn't adhere after 10 seconds, so I'm doing it again. And now the fun fiddly part, taking off all of the backing for all those little bits of detail that you've just added. Little extra press for the branch there. Any details that you put towards the top of the bag or the bottom of the bag, sometimes they're a bit trickier to press because you've got the zip in the way or the extra fold of fabric. So watch out for those bits, they might just need some extra pressing. And I'm going to be dotting the eye here with a Posca pen, just something that you know won't smudge. If you're feeling brave, you could cut a tiny piece of vinyl, but it will have to be really, really small and you'll definitely have to use tweezers. I thought the bag was looking a little bit bare, so I cut some extra little branches and just pressed those with a little heart in the left corner of the bag. But you can add as many details as you like, or just have the bird. Now here you'll see that I'm doing one final press over the baking paper. You can also press the back of the bag as well. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a tassel. So cut a piece of card about 8 by 4 centimetres and then fold in half so you have a square. Then get your embroidery thread and wrap it around the card at least 20 times. The more you wrap, the bigger the tassel will be. Then once you've got enough, just snip off the excess thread. Now cut another little piece of thread about 10 centimetres long. And then this is the point where I realise I don't need such a long piece of card, so I cut mine down. Then squeeze the card together to make a little opening and push your piece of thread all the way through so it pokes out the end. Pull the two ends to the open side of the card quite tightly. Then you want to pull the two ends up and over the card all the way to the other end, so the folded side of the card. Then get your scissors and snip through all of the threads on the open end of the card. If you haven't already, snip off the existing zip. Then, and this bit's a little bit tricky, thread all the ends of your tassel through the hole in the zip. Then take your piece of thread, pop it underneath the tassel and tie a single knot first, quite tight, and then wrap it around a few times and then do a double knot so it's really nice and secure. Then finally you just want to snip off the ends to neaten the tassel. So this was actually a last minute decision when I was filming, but I decided to add a little rosy cheek on the bird. So I cut out a small circle from the pale pink vinyl. I positioned it on the bird, cover with baking paper, and you guessed it, press down for 10 seconds. And then when it was cool, I just peeled off the backing. And voila! Your bird of peace bag is finished.